The Family Inclusion Network in Townsville provides a safe space for the voice of parents with children in care to be expressed and heard by those who have ears to hear without judgment, prejudice or defensiveness. What you will hear on this DVD are stories which reflect consistent themes from many different parents' experiences.
I wasn't coping very well at all. My husband had left to live with his new fling. I was depressed, and then I had a car accident. I really needed some help but didn't know where to go. So I made the mistake of phoning child safety, and instead of help, I lost my kids.
Yeah, that happened to me too. I went to the school to pick up my kids and they weren't there. The welfare had snatched them. I didn't know where they were, if they were okay. Nobody had asked me, no one had told me anything. I was shaking all over. I was really worried. It was bad enough what was going on at home with the drama, let alone this happening to me. It was the tipping point.
My big gripe is they make a big deal about being culturally appropriate, but they haven't got a clue. In my culture, grandparents have custodianship over all the children in a family, but they wouldn't talk with us about what should happen to our grandkids, and they wouldn't even let them see us.
What gets me is that they took my baby just because they'd taken my first baby. They didn't really get to know me and how I've changed and what I'm like now. They thought they knew me and they only wrote negative stuff in their affidavits. They even told the court I had mental health problems, which is a complete lie. I've never been anywhere near a psychiatrist. Finn now tells me child safety isn't qualified to make mental health assessments. So why does the court allow them to get away with it?
I've got so much pain and grief in me. They forced my partner Alice to leave me. Otherwise they said they'd take the newborn straight from the hospital. They never gave us a chance to prove them wrong. They never even offered us any help, just crucified us.
Same with me. They didn't listen and simply labelled me as a monster mother without any good reason at all. I couldn't make sense of it. They saw me just as a bad parent rather than disadvantaged and needing a leg up.
What right does the department have to tell me what man to have in my life and have a child with? I trusted him and I believed in him. I saw everything he did and it was okay, yet they made out our child would be in some sort of danger from him. They removed our baby from the hospital 20 minutes after she was born, and then 5 policemen marched my man out of the hospital with no charges, no questioning, nothing.
Talk about labelling. They've got me in their files as a risk to my kids. But what they say I did to my kids was actually about my neighbour and her kids. But they won't change the files, even though I thought we'd sorted it out.
So what do they put in those files? They think I'm aggressive just because I blew my top when they came to take my children away out of the blue? Who wouldn't? How would they feel if they would have their children taken away? Would they simply let it happen?
You're labelled forever as no good and a dangerous risk. They even warned a family up the street against me. And everywhere I go, other services just turn me away. So much for confidentiality. So much for the help in human services. Even the police treat us with more respect.
The kids were away for so long that when they came back they were totally screwed up, and it's never been the same. I think they've harmed them more than we ever did, and they're supposed to keep them safe. Even now, Courtney's terrified when anyone knocks on the door, and she hides under the bed until she knows she won't be taken away from me again.
And when you've done all those courses they make you do, they won't believe that you might have changed. They keep coming in your house just to check up on you. It's not like they're not there to offer any help, are they?
One junior worker took to your side after the team leader left. She told me to get myself a good lawyer. She said they've got an agenda here and they're out to get you.
A really good social worker at one stage. She was like a breath of fresh air. She really understood what I felt. The only problem is the good social workers never stay too long.
So, there are some workers you find helpful then. What do they do differently? If you had an opportunity to tell the others what they could do differently so that they don't harm your kids and you anymore, what would you say?
Well, it's important for them to listen to the parents and to find out about us and the good things about us and the things that we've done or we haven't done. And it's important for them to show respect to the parents, because if the kids, see their parents as bad, then they feel bad about themselves.
Yes, they can try to understand some of the reasons that brought us in this situation and offer some help, not just take our children away and leave us with that smashed down, empty feeling.
They need to understand when we're angry and not take it personally and act like a prison officer. They're meant to be social workers, aren't they? I thought that they were supposed to be able to walk in our shoes, not tramp on us.
And the body language, they need to think more about that. I remember when that worker slouched back in her chair, arms and feet crossed, and mockingly said, "So how do you think you're going to manage to get your kids back?" Why couldn't she have comforted me and asked me what she could do to help to get them back?
They need to see us as people who are okay in some ways, not judge us as totally and forever no good. After all, how have we managed to get through life so far? We must have some strengths. They should spend time supporting our strengths, not bullying us into submission.
They say we can appeal their decision. That sounds fair, I guess, but at the end they'll only investigate themselves. Where is the justice? There needs to be an appeal process that is really independent, where we can be heard and not crucified.
And they need to know that taking the kids off us screws them up. And even though we're not perfect, the best thing that they can do is support the kids to stay with us in our family.
And to stay with their community and culture so that they know who they are and don't have that empty, incomplete feeling like the people in Oranges and Sunshine.
That social worker Margaret Humphreys was awesome. If only child safety workers could be more like that, compassionate and caring, and treating us as people with feelings and recognising that we're important in the lives of our kids.